How do I, hey Nia, thanks for coming in. How do I find the degree? Well, I multiply the x's together. So x times x times x times x times x times x times x just gives me x to the 7th power. So my degree would be 7, or I can just count the x's. So there would be 3 here, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's degree 7. That's how I did that. And since all my coefficients with the x's are 1, when I multiply them all together, my leading coefficient is still going to be 1. Okay? There's no way you can get around that. My x-intercepts, right? I set each one of those equal to 0, and I solve for it. So I've got one at -1. I've got -2 multiplicity of 3, because I've got 3 at -2 here. I've got 4, with a multiplicity of 2, because there's 2 at -4. And then I've got 1 at 5. I think that's what I wrote, yeah. And then to find my y-intercept, remember we talked about this yesterday, I put a 0 where there's all these x's, right? 0, 0, 0, 0. And then I multiply everything else out, or do order of operations. And my y-intercept is at -640. If you write it as a point, it would be 0, -640, right? Like that. It's great. And then which way it opens. This one's a little weird because it's an odd degree. That means they go in opposite directions, right? One's down and one's up. Leading coefficient is positive. So that means my slope is, I have a positive slope. So all I wrote on this one is I have a positive slope. So that means, right, it's going to look like this. So it's not really going to open up or down. It's just going to have a positive slope. One starts low. It starts low and goes high. Okay? And then for number 2, still going to do the same thing. For my degree, I've got, let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have got an 8th degree there. My leading coefficient, all my coefficients here are all 1. So when I multiply them out, I'm still going to have a leading coefficient of 1. X-intercepts. So for this one, I'm going to have 3 with a multiplicity of 3. This one is going to be -8 with a multiplicity of 2. This one's going to be -9, and this one's going to be 11 with a multiplicity of 2. And then my y-intercept, put a 0 where all the x's are, right? Multiply that out, and I'm going to get 0, -1,881,792 is where my x-intercept is. At least that's what when I multiplied -27 times 64 times 9 times 121, that's what I got. Okay? So I did it twice because I thought I was wrong, but that's what I got. And then it opens, it's a even degree, so that means they open in the same direction, and it's positive, so that means it's going to open up. Okay? So that's what we've got there. So really quickly, I want you to flip back. We're going to go back and finish the last 2 problems. I don't know why they're at the end of the last problem. We're going to do the 2 graphs on the last section, so you just have to flip a page back. We're going to talk about this. So we're going to graph these functions. Okay? So I want to first find my degree. My degree is going to tell me my degree and my leading coefficient is going to tell me my overall shape of my graph. So the degree on this one is that's a third degree. My leading coefficient is going to be 1, which means it's going to. That is so not a 1. Wow. Okay, 1. So what that tells me is the degree tells me my ends are going to open in opposite directions, right? Because it's odd. If it's even, they open in the same direction. If it's odd, they open in different directions. And because my leading coefficient is positive 1, it means it's going to start low and go high. So I'm just going to write myself a little note like that. So that's what it should start like. It's going to start down here on the left and go high on the right. Okay. Then it says find the 0. So I want to find my x-intercepts. So basically everything we just found on the warm-up, we want to find to graph this. Okay. So my x-intercepts are going to be, what's going to make this 0? That would be 6, -2, and -7. And then my y-intercept, oh, I have a feeling it's going to be big. 6 negative times 2 times 7. -84. Okay. And then we already know it's opening. This kind of tells me what it's doing. Since I drew this kind of tells me which way it's opening. So I may need to plot a few more points, and we'll get to that in just a second. Okay. So basically I'm going to draw my x and y intercepts on my graph. So I've got one at 6. I'm going to make this a little bigger, sorry, so I can see it and the people in class can see it. So let's see, 6, -2, and -7. Okay, and then my y-intercept, as you notice, it's not going to fit on this graph, right? So I'm just going to kind of put it down here. This is going to be my y-intercept. I'm just going to put it right down there. Okay. I know that it's going to start low and go high. I do not know, do I know how high each point and valley is going to be? No, I don't. Do I need to know? At this point, no, I don't. I don't need to know. Because we're just sketching it. It's just a sketch. It's not an actual graph to make sure that it's right. I don't have to be exact. I just have to be close. Are we okay with that, you guys? I know from all our graphing before, everything's had to be exact. It doesn't have to be now. Because all we're doing is we're just sketching it. Okay, we're just making a sketch of my graph. So I know I'm going to start down here. Okay. There's no multiplicity, so I'm not worrying about a touch or a kiss or anything. I'm just going through. It's going to go up, down here, down through my y-intercept, and then back up through here somewhere. Probably doesn't flatten out, but I didn't have any more room to go on my graph. So that's what it's going to look like. Okay, my height and my height and my depth are not right because I don't have enough room to go down low enough, right? But that's approximately what it's going to look like. And if you want to double check it, you can always get out Desmos and double check it. Okay. Wow, I think Erin Denny was already here. Okay. So we're going to do this a couple times. It's really not any harder than this, okay? So let's do the next one, which is on the following page. So again, we're going to find the degree. My degree, my leading coefficient, my x-intercept, and my y-intercepts. Okay, so my degree is 2, 3, 4, and my leading coefficient is -2. Okay, so with the degree 4, that means my ends are going to go open in the same direction. They're either both going to go up or both going to go down. My leading coefficient is negative. That means they're both going to go down like this, right? So my ends are going to go down. Okay, questions on that? Now I need to find my x and y intercepts. So my x-intercept, what's going to make this 0 would be, what is that, -1 and +1. And then I have 8 with a multiplicity of 2. And my y-intercept, oh, we have another huge one. Okay, so I have 2 negative times 1 times -1 times 64, 128. 0, 128. Please ask if you don't know how I found any of these numbers. Please make sure you're asking questions. Okay? So I'm going to plot my x-intercepts. So I've got 1 and -1 and 8 with a multiplicity of 2. And my y-intercept is 0. I'm just going to put it up here above 10. 0, 128. So they're both going to open down. At 8, at this point right here, it's going to touch it, right? It's not going to cross. At the 2 1s, they're going to cross. So these two, it's going to cross, and this one is going to touch because there's a multiplicity of 2. It's an even multiplicity. And we kind of talked about that yesterday when we were going over the list in that thing, right? If it has an even multiplicity, it touches the axis and goes back down. If it's an odd multiplicity, it crosses, and sometimes it flattens out before it crosses, but it does still cross. So I've got an even multiplicity. So, and I'm opening both down. So I'm going to start over here, I guess. And I'm going to kind of go up, and I miss my point, and then I'm going to go down. And I'm probably going to go way down. And I'm going to come up here, and it just touches here. It touches and it goes back down. So my endpoints are both going in the down direction, so it opens down. Are any of my other points right? Oh, no, probably not. Do I care? No, I don't. Okay? The main points are right. My x-intercepts, my y-intercept, and my end behavior is correct. Okay? All right. So go to the new, and we're doing the same thing, you guys. So let me pause just for a second and talk about the homework. Guess what? You don't have to show graphing on your homework. You don't have to graph. You do have to pick out the right graphs. You have to pick out the right x-intercepts. You have to pick out all the right stuff, right? So you'll have to identify the right graph. So do I have to know how to graph? Yeah, I do. Okay. Do you actually have to physically graph, like if we were in person and like it was last year and you would have had to graph and turn in a piece of paper homework? No, you don't. Okay. So it's a little different this year, but you'll still have to know how to do this, especially if you're going to go, well, if you're going to college, you have to know how to do this regardless. Okay. So here we go. So my degree is 3. Wow, that took me a long time. My leading coefficient is 1. So odd degree, positive. It should look like this when we're done. X-intercepts. I can make it a little bit bigger. There we go. X-intercept 0 and -3 with a multiplicity of 2. My y-intercept is going to be 0. I'm just going to write it 0, 0. Okay. I think that's all I need. So 0, 0, and -3. Okay, so it's going to start low, start down here. It's going to touch here, touch at -3. Okay, so I'm going to go up, touch, come back down, and then go up here. My lines are so straight, and it kind of looks like that. Questions? Daniel, are you okay with that? Okay. shouldn't have this little flat piece there, but again, it's my drawing. Yeah.
The higher the multiplicity, is it the more flat?
Yeah, uh-huh. Yep. So if it's a 2, it's just going to touch and come back down. If it was a 4, which have some a little bit higher ones, but they're not going to give you a whole bunch of real high multiplicities to graph. But yeah, the higher the multiplicity, the flatter it's going to be. Good question, Paige. Okay, let's do number 2. Sorry, I can only make it so big and still have it on my iPad. So my degree for this one, I think, is still going to be 3. My leading coefficient is still 1, so it's still going to be this way. X-intercept, -6, and 3 with a multiplicity of 2. Y-intercept, 6 times -3 squared. So 6 times 54. 0 and 50. Yeah, 54. Ugh. Okay. -6 and 3 and 54. So it's going to cross at no, because the -3 is squared, so -3 times -3 is 9. Yeah, good question. So, okay, it crosses at 6 and touches at 3. Okay, so it's going to go up. Oh, that was really good, Campbell. And come back down through here and come back down and touch and go back up like this. Without this icky little piece right here. There we go. That looks a little better. It usually peaks like halfway between the points, right? So it usually peaks halfway between and then comes back down. That's why I made it kind of go a little higher. Okay, so, oof, okay. So we've got number 3 here, has a degree of 3 still, and a leading coefficient of -1. Whew, okay. X-intercept is 0 and 4 multiplicity of 2. So with a leading coefficient of -1, that means it's going to start high and end low this time. Y-intercept is going to be 0. So just a quick, easy thing. If I have an x-intercept at 0, guess what my y-intercept is going to be?
0.
Yeah, because I can't have, if I have a point here, x-intercept there, it's already on the y-axis. So I don't even actually have to figure out what my y-intercept is going to be. So if I have an x-intercept at 0, my y-intercept is automatically 0. Nice, easy, quick thing to kind of think about. So 4 there. And it crosses at 0 and touches at 4. And I'm going to start high. Oh, y-intercept. Okay. So I'm going to start up here, come down through here, come down so far. I don't know how far, touch, and come back down there. I should have curved it a little bit more, but kind of looks like that. Okay, one more, and then you guys are going to work on, I don't know, I think it's 4 or 5. I don't remember how many's on the next page, sorry. Okay, so my degree is 2, 3, 4, 5, with a leading coefficient of 1. So it's going to start low and go high. X-intercept is going to be, subtract 3, so 3 multiplicity of 2, subtract 2, subtract 7, multiplicity of 2. People are getting kicked off left and right today. Y-intercept. Okay, so that's 9. 9 times 2 times 49. Ooh, 882. Wow, okay. So I have one at 3 that's going to kiss or touch. One at -2 that's going to cross. And one at -7 that's going to touch. And then my y-intercept's at 882, so way, 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 way up there. So I'm touching, touch, cross, touch. Is that what? Touch, cross? Yeah. Okay, so I'm starting low. I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to touch. Come back down here, cross, go way up here. Back here, touch, go up. And approximately going to look like that. And then, just so you guys know, I'm going to do this. Let's see if we can do it. I'm going to stop sharing this. And, oops, so sorry. I don't know why I'm saying sorry to you guys. You can't see what's happening. I'm going to come over here and share screen 1. And let's go to Desmos and let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can get it, Desmos graphing calculator. So we're going to see if we can get it to look the same as this. So parenthesis x minus 3, parenthesis squared, okay, parenthesis x plus 2, parenthesis x plus 7 squared again, squared. So let me put this down and let me make this, it's going to look really small once I make it smaller, so you can't even, I can't even make it small enough so you can see, but you can kind of see that we kind of have it right. You can see I'm going up, touching, going way down, going way, way up, coming down, touching, and going up again. So you can check with Desmos to see if you have it right. Does that make sense? So if you need to check, you can always go into Desmos to check that out. Okay, so stop sharing that. Where's that button at? Okay, I can close that now, leave that. And I can share this again. And so what you guys are going to do is, I don't think we have, like we have one coming up on the back page. When it maybe I can get here. You have 6 problems. I'd like you to go ahead and graph those problems. Find everything you need to do about that and graph those. And okay. So my degree is 3. My leading coefficient is -3. So it's going to go this way. X-intercepts. I have one at 0, and I have one at -4 with a multiplicity of 2. And then my y-intercept is at 0. So I've got one there and -4. gonna touch, oh, y-intercept, okay. Yeah. There we go. Something like that. Is that what you got? Or did you not do it?
I did.
Good job. Yes, Nia.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. So B would be degree
You're the
4.
best.
Degree 4. Leading coefficient 1, so it's going to look like this, open in the same direction. X-intercepts. I've got 1 at add 6 and 3 at -4, multiplicity 4. No, multiplicity, oh, my Lanta. Let me write that the right way. Subtract 4, multiplicity 3. There we go. So I have 3 at -4. And my y-intercept is at 64 times 6. 64 times -6. -384. Yes, 0, -384. Okay. So I have 1 at 6, and then -4, and then way down here. Okay, so this is how this looks. This is an odd multiplicity, right? We haven't had an odd multiplicity yet. Okay, it crosses at -4. I was going to say -3 again. It crosses at -4, but it flattens out before it crosses, right? Remember what it looks like? So I'm going to kind of go down. It's going to look really bad because I can't draw really well, if you guys can't notice. I'm going to go out, and then it's going to kind of flatten out this way, and then it's going to go down. Way past, right? Way past, way past. And then it's going to go back up through here. So that's what it's going to look like. It's going to be flatter at that place right there. Does that make sense? Okay. And then number C. 43, how are we doing on time? We're doing great on time. Okay. So my degree is 3. My leading coefficient is going to be -1, so it's going to go this way. X-intercepts are going to be at 0, 2, and -2. And my y-intercept is going to be at 0, 0. Anybody have any questions on that? Do you know how I got 2 and -2? Okay, so I took this one, right? Set it equal to 0, right? That's how you find the x-intercepts, right? You take each piece and set it equal to 0. So x squared minus 4 equal to 0. Add 4 to both sides. So I have x squared equals 4. And then it's not like before, the squared was on the outside of the parenthesis, and I just had 2 of them, 2x plus 4s. This time I have an x squared plus 4. So now I square root it, and x equals 2 or -2. Does that make sense? Okay. That's the difference between that and this right here. Right? This just says I have x plus 4 times x plus 4. So I have 2 at -4s. Okay? So for my graph purposes, you guys, I'm going to erase this. Sorry. So here we go. So I have 2, -2, and 0. So it's going to cross all of them. This one's going to be pretty easy to draw. So it's going to start up here, go down, cross, cross, and I so missed that point, but I hope you guys get the point. Looks like that. Nice, Jess. Okay, number D. My degree is going to be 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, x squared, x cubed, and times cubed is 6. Okay, leading coefficient 5. So x-intercepts. Set that equal to 0 is 0. Add 7 is 7. Add 3 is 3. Subtract 6 with a multiplicity of 3. Okay. Y-intercept is 0, 0. Hmm. 7, 3, and -6. Okay, odd multiplicity, so it's going to flatten out there. Oh, even degree, positive leading coefficient, so they should both open in the same direction and upwards. So it's going to flatten out at -6 and cross at all the other ones. So hopefully this works out. So it's going to look like this. That looks really bad. Let me try this again. Flatten out. Cross. 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 Beautiful. It's like a weird W. Okay. And then, how weird are we going to get over here? Oh, not too bad, actually. Degree. What is my degree? 3. Leading coefficient, 3. So start low, go high. X-intercepts, 7, 3, and -3. Y-intercept, anybody? 63 times 7, 63 times 3, 189. 189. Right? How do I find the y-intercept? I set x equal to 0 and solve, right? So 3 times -7 times -9. -3, +3, 7, 189. Start low. Not too bad. And then the last one, oh, okay. Degree 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Leading coefficient, -1. So it's going to open down. X-intercepts. 0, multiplicity 2. Add 5, sorry. Subtract 2, multiplicity 2. Add 1, multiplicity 3. Y-intercept There was one at 0, so it's got to be 0, 0. 0, 5, 1. Oh, -2. So it's going to touch, touch, cross, cross. So it's going to touch, touch, cross, cross. Okay. Touch. Touch. Flatten out. Go through. Okay. Questions? It was really hard to get that one at 1 to flatten out right there. But it just kind of flatten out. Maybe I should go like this. Touch, flatten out. Yeah. Okay, so homework's in Canvas today, not Delta Math, because we had to custom make the problems. So it's in Canvas. Okay, don't forget to do your form for extra credit. And if you get done with this, because you have just about 25 minutes, you have time to work on missing homework, which almost everybody in here has. Almost everybody. It's either feast or famine in this class. You either have an A or you have an F. So someone please do some work if you don't have the A. Especially while